Today we're going to learn how to use Excel to answer business questions. I have got 15 data analysis questions here, and I will show you how to use Excel formulas to answer these questions. Along the way, we are also going to learn some of the most powerful and useful Excel functions and how to apply them for answering the questions. I have provided a sample file for you to download, so feel free to grab that and follow along. Watch the whole video to see how to answer these 15 business questions. Let's go. Before we get into the questions, let's quickly understand the data set. Awesome Chocolates has recently introduced Awesome Apps, and here is the Awesome App download and installation data. The data is available for the 7 apps for each month starting June 2021 up until December 2021. For each app month, we know how many downloads were there, how many uninstalls were there, how many 5-star and 1-star ratings were available, and how many total ratings are there. These are all the questions that we shall answer. Let's go one question at a time, and along the way you will learn various formulas. Our question 1 is total downloads for SugarRush app. As you can see here, SugarRush is available every month, so we just need to add up all these values to get the total. This is where the SUMIFS formula is perfect. So you could use the SUMIFS formula like this, SUMIFS, and then specify the numbers that you want to add up and the criteria. In this case, my numbers are in the download column of the table. So if I select this, it will say data downloads. This is simply because I have already put my data in the table named data. So it will refer to the download column. And we just want to add up the downloads where data app is SugarRush. Because SugarRush is a text value, we just need to put that within double quotes. And when you close the bracket and press enter, you will see how many app downloads were there for SugarRush. If you want to change this app to something else, for example, instead of SugarRush, we would like to get the answer for Temple Bun, you just have to replace the value like this. Normally, when I write the formulas, instead of typing the value like this, I would type the value in a cell and link it. So let's just do that. So in the cell here, I'm going to type my SugarRush, and then here, instead of hard coding the value, we'll say the value needs to come from C9. It will give the same result. But the beauty of this is if I want to change, I can go to the C9 cell and type a different app. So let's see what is it for Subway Wafers, 36,894. We can use the SUMIFS formula for many other applications. To do those, let's go and look at some of the other questions. Our second business question is how many total downloads are there for C apps? This is an internal name for all the apps whose name starts with the letter C. To do this, I'm going to define an input cell starting with and then type C there. And then we can use the SUMIFS formula like this. SUMIFS, the sum range needs to be download column. So you can select this. And then the criteria range is app name. So we'll select the app, and for the criteria, we want to point to the letter C and then say anything that begins with C and there could be any number of letters afterwards. So first we will type the formula without linking the input cell, and then I'll show you how to link the input cell. So to do this, we can simply say C star. Star is a special character in the SUMIFS function, and whenever you use star, Excel will just add up all the values wherever the first letter is C. So this is going to give you that total of all the C apps. But we don't want to do it like this. We would like to link it to the input cell here. So to do this, we'll just replace the double quotes with that input letter here, and then use the ampersand to combine the special operator star within double quotes. So D9 ampersand star. Again, we'll get this. So this is how many total downloads we have for the C apps. If I want to, for example, do it for the S apps, which are my SugarRush and Subway Wafers, I'll see that this is how many downloads we had for the S apps. Before we go to question number 3, let's address one particular topic. There are two kinds of sum functions in Excel, SUMIF and SUMIFS. I recommend using the SUMIFS, COUNTIFS or AVERAGEIFS function all the time. That way, if you need one condition or multiple conditions, you just need one formula. Whereas the IF function like SUMIF can only take one condition at a time. Now let's go to the question number 3. Our third business question is, how many uninstalls happened in the month of December 2021? So here we are going to look at a criteria on the month column. This is going to be interesting. So we'll say month and then type December 2021. And here I want to see how many uninstalls happened. To do this, we will just say SUMIFS. Instead of selecting the column, you can also type these columns yourself. So you will simply say data table, open the square bracket, and then using the arrow keys, select the uninstall and then press the tab key to add that to the formula. Normally, I use this approach if my data is not on the same spreadsheet as my formula. And then we will say data, month. Now this needs to match that. So we can directly link it to the cell like that. Or alternatively, you can also generate a date that is equal to December 2021. To do this, you can use the date formula, 2021, 12th month, first date. And you will get the answer here as 783. Let's quickly double check this total. So if I go all the way down here to my December and then select all of these, my sum here is 783 and that's the answer. Working with dates is an important aspect of data analysis. So that's why we are going to look at few more combinations of date related stuff as part of the next question. This time we would like to see how many downloads happened in the months of October, November or December 2021. So that entire 3-month window. Again, we can use the SUMIFS formula for this. For this purpose, I'm going to define two input variables. One is my starting point of time and the other is my ending point of time. So once you have defined these two values, we would now like to see all the download total wherever the date is between these two boundaries. This sort of SUMIF formulas are really important and useful in many business situations. So pay close attention to this particular technique. We say SUMIFS, pick the download column, and then we'll start by specifying the first criteria, which is the download should have happened on or after 1st of October 2021. So we'll select the month column and then say this needs to be greater than or equal to ampersand that date. So any date on or after October 2021. If you stop at this point and close the bracket and press enter, you're going to get all the downloads from 1 October onwards. Of course, here in the data, we only have data from October to December. But imagine in future you have data that is added for Jan or February, then it will add up those values as well. So this formula is not entirely correct. So let's go and add the second condition, which is the date also needs to be before 31st of December 2021. So the second condition, again, we will add data month, and this is less than or equal to ampersand this date. So we have specified both boundaries and we'll get the result. Of course, there is no change here. This is simply because we only have data up to December. But if you add some extra data, this number will not change. Let's test this by changing these dates to June and July. Let's simply type 1 June 2021, 31 July 2021. And we will get total downloads in the first 2 months since we launched our awesome apps. Let's understand how to use the COUNTIFS formula with this question. How many times we had more than 8,000 downloads per app month? So that means on the download column, I just want to count all the occurrences when we had more than 8,000 downloads within a month. So this is where you can use the COUNTIFS function. COUNTIFS, and then select the criteria. So in this case, it downloads. and then simply say what is the criteria. The criteria needs to be more than 8,000. So we'll say greater than 8,000 and then close bracket. So you can see that there have been 5 times when we had more than 8,000 downloads per month. Let's quickly double check this. So I'm going to go to the download column here, number filters greater than 8,000. And these are the 5 occurrences. You might feel a bit confused by when you would use the greater than or less than within the double quotes. Every time you're doing a comparison of greater than, less than, before or after, the operator that is the greater than or less than needs to be within the double quotes. So that is the key rule to remember when you're working with the SUMIFS, COUNTIFS or AVERAGEIFS functions. Now that we have some understanding of both SUMIFS and COUNTIFS functions, let's go and answer a question that is not directly answerable by a single formula alone. In this question, I want to know what is the 5-star rating percentage for SugarRush app. So here the normal way of answering this question is I want to see how many 5-star ratings SugarRush had and then how many total ratings it had and compare this versus that as a percentage. So our app is SugarRush. And then we just have to calculate these two numbers, total 5-star ratings and total ratings for SugarRush. So this number is a SUMIFS formula, SUMIFS of 5-star ratings, where app is SugarRush. So it has been rated 5-star 587 times. The next is SUMIFS total ratings, app is SugarRush. And it had received total of 5,353 ratings. So 5-star percentage is equal to this divided by that. And we'll get this as a fraction. If you apply percentage formatting, you can see that this has happened 11% of the time. Pretty impressive. Let's see how this is for Temple Bun. 12%. So far we have only done sums and counts. Let's see how to do this kind of analysis with average. Here I have a question of what is the average uninstalls for Subway Wafers. So our app is Subway Wafers and average uninstalls can be calculated using the AVERAGEIFS function. And here average range is on the uninstall column. So we'll select uninstall and then criteria is my app column and this is the criteria. So on average, Subway Wafers gets about 100 uninstalls every month. Now let's take this up to the next level. Which month has the highest uninstall ratio? Again, this kind of a question is somewhat tricky to answer, but if you start paying close attention to various things that are available, then it becomes very easy. So here I have got 7 months worth of data. So we have June onwards up to December. So for each month, we need to calculate uninstall ratio. Let's say uninstall ratio is defined as total uninstalls divided by total downloads in a month. So for each month, we want to calculate total uninstalls and total downloads and then figure out which month has the highest uninstall. So we need to set up a grid month and then type the very first month, June 2021. And if you just drag this down, you will get all the month values. So for each month, we then need to calculate uninstalls and downloads. So for uninstalls, it would be a SUMIFS of uninstalls column, whereas the month column is in C11. Close the bracket, we get 691 uninstalls. If you drag this down, you will see all the values. Now for this, again, we need another SUMIFS formula. SUMIFS data downloads, data month is here. And then close this. You can again drag, but another way of filling the formula all the way down until the adjacent value cell has a value is you can just go to the corner. When the cursor changes to plus button, double click, it will also fill this down. So we have uninstalls, we have downloads. We can calculate the uninstall ratio, and this is this divided by that. So we'll get the values here. They're kind of similar. This is because the data is randomly made up. So now out of all of this, we just want to calculate the maximum. So maximum of these values is, the question is not about this value, but it is about which month has the highest uninstall ratio. So this is my highest uninstall ratio. And as you could see, it happened in the month of July, but we need really the answer as July. And to do that, we need to use the lookup category of functions in Excel. And here you can either use XLOOKUP or INDEX+MATCH. I prefer using XLOOKUP because it is easy. So this is the value that I want to look up in this column and then get the corresponding month name. So essentially what Excel will do is it will take this number, it will look up in this particular column. Wherever it finds the value, it will go across the screen, get the corresponding month name. This will come as a number, but if you apply the date formatting, then you will quickly see that it is actually July. As you can see, answering this question requires calculating so many more numbers and working with SUMIFS formula in different ways. And that is why SUMIFS and other ifs functions are super important for data analysis situations. Let's take a look at the next question. Our next question is about average monthly downloads. This kind of follows the same pattern as earlier, but instead of looking at uninstalls or anything, we just want to see how many average downloads each month had. We can use the AVERAGEIFS function for this question. So AVERAGEIFS of my downloads, where my month is here. So in the month of June, we had 4,971 on average. And then as you fill down, you can see that the values have kind of fluctuated quite a bit. And again, you can change this to a whole number or a number with some 2 decimal points to quickly see just the required amount of precision. So far, we have only used the SUMIFS, COUNTIFS, or a bit of lookup formulas to answer the questions. But now we need to go beyond those. So here we have a question about what is the most downloads in any month for any app and which downloads is taking up the second and third place. We can answer the most downloads question using the max formula. So maximum of the downloads column is 10,228. The second highest value and the third highest value are not possible with the max formula. For this, you need to use the large formula. So large formula takes a column or a range of values. So in this case, data downloads, and then we want the second largest value. So it will give you 9195. We'll write the same formula here, but change this to 3, and then you can get 8586. So this is the answer for this particular question. While this does answer the question, we don't know exactly which month and which app had that many downloads. And that's our next question. Which month and app was this? So this is where, again, using the lookup formula like XLOOKUP or INDEX+MATCH can be helpful. So I will show you how to do the XLOOKUP here and how to do the INDEX+MATCH here. So XLOOKUP, we want to look up when that many downloads happened in the download column and then get the corresponding app name. Essentially, we are looking for Chocolate Crossing because that is the one that had 10,028 downloads. So we'll get that answer here. And if we just drag this down, I'll get my other ones as well. Now let's see the month. For the month, I'm going to use INDEX+MATCH. This is simply because XLOOKUP is only available in Excel 365. But many of you might not have access to that and using a older version of Excel. So INDEX+MATCH would work in pretty much any version of Excel. The way this works is you'll start by saying index and then select the month column because that's the answer that we want here. We need to know the month and then say match this number in the downloads column, and then the last parameter is a 0. This is because we want an exact match. So that's the pattern that you will use. Start by saying which column data you want and then specify the match. We don't get the month, we get the number value of that month. But once the values are there, you can use the date formatting to see the underlying month. We had most downloads in the month of August 2021. and the app is Chocolate Crossing, second highest in November, third highest in July. Our next question is, in the month of October 2021, which app has most 1-star ratings? So if I just want to get the highest 1-star ratings ever, we could use the max formula. So max of 1-star ratings, I'll get the answer as 60. It is actually the very first one. But that's not what we want. We want to just limit the maximum formula only to the values of October. So this is where we'll set up the input value October, and then you can calculate most 1-star ratings by using a special type of max called as MAXIFS. Now this formula is only available in Excel 365 and maybe in Excel 2016. So if you are running an older version of Excel, you're not able to use the MAXIFS formula. Please refer to the video description for another solution to this problem. So MAXIFS 1-star ratings column, because that's where I want my maximum, and then the month column needs to be October. So here I will get the answer as 47, which is the highest number out of all these values. But that's not the question. The question is, which app has most 1-star ratings? So we want the app name. Now again, you might be tempted to use the XLOOKUP or the INDEX+MATCH, and you will quickly realize that that may not give you the correct result. We'll try with XLOOKUP. So XLOOKUP 47 in the 1-star ratings column, and then get the corresponding app. We'll get this as SugarRush, which happens to be coincidentally the correct result. But as I said, this could be wrong. This is because imagine what happens if in another month we had a 47. So I'm just changing this where is my cocoa to 47. Then I'll get the answer here as where is my cocoa, even though that's the incorrect answer. This is because what XLOOKUP or even INDEX+MATCH will do is they will just give you the first matching result. Whereas what we want is we want to get the app name from just the October data. So this app name formula is wrong. So what is the correct way of doing this? To do this correctly, we must first remove all the data except October data and then do the lookup inside that. So this is where ideally I would use a filter function. We'll start by saying filter. The value that we want is the app name. So I'm going to just select the app column by adding the criteria. The criteria needs to have 2 parameters to it. So the first parameter is month is equal to October. And then the second parameter, to add the second parameter, we need to use the star operator here to multiply. Do not confuse this star with what SUMIFS star or COUNTIFS star will do. So data month D9 star. And then the second criteria is ratings also. 1-star ratings need to be 47. So essentially we are asking the question, which app had 47 1-star ratings in the month of October 2021. So when you specify it like this, you will get the answer as SugarRush. One of the good things with filter is it's going to return all matching results. As you can see, if there are 2 apps with 47 1-star ratings in October, both of them will be shown on the screen. Let's go to our next question. Our next question is kind of related. This question is, does the app name change by December 2021? So you might be again tempted to just change the input cell here, 2021, and then you'll get the answer. Within December 2021, we had actually even higher 1-star ratings, so 55, but the app is Temple Bun. So from SugarRush, we moved on to Temple Bun. So a different app, but we had even higher things. If you want to keep both values, that is October value and December value on the screen, then what you can do is you can set it up for October 2021. You will get the answers. You can Control C, Control V. So you'll get another set of values here. Because of the nature of your references, everything is relative. So all of these formulas refer to these values here. And I can now just change this to December 2021. So I'll get my October answers here, December answers here. Note that in both cases, this one is wrong because it was looking for 55 or 47 across all of the data. All right, we are almost at the end of the questions now. Question number 14, what are the best downloads figures for each app. So we just need to list all the app names here. And then for each app, most downloads ever would be a MAXIFS. So maximum of the downloads column where app would be here. So what is the maximum for the app Crushed by Candies? It'll come up here. So for Crushed by Candies, the most downloads ever is 8,586. And when you fill this down, you'll get the similar answers here. If you want to figure out which month it is, then you can calculate that using the filter or the lookup formula approaches that we discussed earlier. Feel free to take that up as a homework challenge and try to figure the answer out yourself. If you have some trouble, look at the download file, and I have provided some clues as well as actual formula that works. And that brings us to the very last question. What is the least downloaded app in each month? Notice that here I'm not really interested in the number of downloads, but the app name itself. So this is a little tricky, but we can easily solve this. So we'll need to start with the month and then fill up all the months and then calculate least downloads. Just as we have MAXIFS, you also have MINIFS. So MINIFS of the downloads column, where month column is here. So least downloads in the month of June 2021 is 1837. And then when you fill this down, you will see other values as well. As I said, we're not interested in the download number itself. We want to know the app name. So the app name is, we need to figure out which app had 1837 downloads. But we cannot use lookup because what happens is lookup will find the first 1837 and then give the answer. But if there are another 1837 further down that we want, then it will not give you that. So we need to first limit the data to July or June or whatever month it is, and then look for that least download number. So here we can use the filter function. Filter, because we want the app name, we'll select the data app. Criteria is twofold. First criteria is data month is equal to this star data downloads is equal to this. So both criteria are fed here, and then we will get that answer as temple bun and then fill this down. So as you could see, Subway wafers had appeared thrice, followed by temple bun and Crushed by Candies. So maybe Subway wafers is not such a flash game after all. So there you go. That is how you can use Excel formulas to do data analysis. I hope you found all of these concepts and the examples useful and relevant for your line of work. If you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up so that other people can also enjoy this video. In terms of taking your learnings to the next level, I have a couple of suggestions for you. Number one, download the practice workbook and practice by asking your own questions and try to answer them using various formulas that I have shown you or the other formulas that I didn't mention but available in Excel. And number two is, if you want to take your business and data analysis skills to next level, I highly recommend checking out my own Excel School program. This online course is designed to help data analysts understand and use Excel better for any type of scenarios that they may encounter in their work. So check out the course. The link for that is also in the video description. I wish you all the very best in your journey. Catch you again somewhere else. Bye bye.